despite the Russia.
Donald Trump on Friday told reporters he found it easier to deal with Russian President Vladimir Putin than Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And he said he believed the Russian leader, who launched an unprovoked attack on Ukraine more than 3 years ago, when Putin said he sought peace.
Yeah, no, I believe him. I think we're doing very well with Russia. But right now they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine. And I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards.
Earlier on Friday, the U.S. president had raised the prospect of imposing large-scale sanctions on Russia. It comes after a Reuters report earlier this week that the White House was preparing to give Russia possible sanctions relief as part of the push to end the war and improve diplomatic and economic ties with Moscow.
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin.
3 years of solid support for Ukraine was erased exactly 1 week ago in a shouting match in the Oval Office between Trump and Zelensky. Trump afterward canceled U.S. support for Ukraine and ended the sharing of crucial intelligence, measures that stunned allies across Europe and were met with approval in Moscow. Officials in Washington and Kiev have tried to patch things up since, and a U.S. delegation is set to meet with counterparts from Ukraine for talks in Saudi Arabia next week. Trump has continued to suggest Ukrainian leaders need to prove they are serious about ending the war they did not start.
As you know, we're meeting in Saudi Arabia on sometime next week, early. And we're talking, I find that in terms of getting a final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards. I mean, they're bombing the hell out of them right now.
The loss of American support comes at a crucial time for the Ukrainian military. Russian forces have almost surrounded thousands of Ukrainian troops who stormed into Russia's Kursk region last summer. Open-source maps show a Russian counteroffensive has nearly cut the Ukrainian force in Kursk in two and separated the main group from its principal supply lines.